Okay. All right. So we've got our basic selection working. There's definitely some funkiness around it. Uh like after we select, our selection moves with our mouse cursor. But it stays selected when we're doing things, but no geometry is showing up. Um, so let's see if we can start getting that. Let's go ahead and start with a new chat here, and have Claude kind of start looking into that. Working on functionality for our editor. We have cell selection, spell right, selection working, but when attempting to make changes to that cell, we are not seeing the changes being reflected. For example, if I select a cell and turn on the north wall, see this in the logs. But no wall is rendered within the editor. Okay, let's see if it can fix that issue first. I'm expecting to see it in Pi. And then if I save the map, it should be there if I reload or refresh that specific map and go with that. Okay, well, just to make sure we are clear, when I'm saying editor, I'm not talking about the Unreal Engine editor. I'm talking about our custom level. Okay, you can read the code to understand what we are doing. Yeah, 4 definitely likes to ask a lot of questions on new new chats before it goes out to the code, which I'm not necessarily against. I think that that's probably fine. I mean, in this instance, it's probably good for it to just go read the code. But in general, I think it's better that it's asking me clarifying questions, getting information from me to make sure that it understands um, where I'm coming from. Um, so kind of liking that it does that. Uh, Found the issue. The cycle wallet selected cell function. The logic is setting the new mesh, and now we're back to writing out files in here rather than just editing the files directly. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. The logic is setting the new mesh to null pointer in both cases, when there's a wall and when there isn't. This means it's always removing walls instead of actually logging them. Line 301. Comment even says replaced with a reference to a default wall mesh asset, but still set to null pointer. Okay, but there's another potential issue. I noticed the update cell visual function in Map Manager is adding instances instead of properly updating them. This means every time you toggle a wall, it just keeps adding more instances instead of replacing the old ones. Here's a better approach. Now let me apply these fixes to your code. Fix the cycle wall at selected cell function. Fix the update cell visual function to properly regenerate the map instead of just adding more instances. Now we need to make sure we have a wall mesh asset in the path. Create import a basic wall mesh, save it as wall basic in the content meshes folder. Meshes in starter content. Okay. All right, well, let's see what happens. Recompile. Okay. See what happens. All right, so start up the editor. Select that one, and let's do a north wall, a south wall. And I'm still seeing no wall. Okay. You see, what was the default mesh that it set? That was cell selection component. Game starter content architecture wall 400 by 400. Okay, so that's the right wall. Okay. Actually, let's see if the saving is working at all. So select that, give it a north and a south, and save the map. Take you. Okay. So let's save the map again just to be sure. And then let's stop. let's write the map visual, and there's still no map there. Or no walls. When I play, yeah, there's no walls. Okay. All right, so no walls showing. I click the save map button. No updated are saved. Let me check something for grins and giggles. If I select this one and I take off west, put west back, take off north. Okay, so removing is working. Okay. Good to know. Okay. Removing walls does update visually, but adding does not. Either with the mesh loading or the visual update. Actually, in your map data when you start, can you show me the logs you see when start pi select a cell? Try to toggle a wall on. But before that, let me check if there are any issues with how the mesh is being loaded or visual process. Might be that the generate map visuals approach is too heavy-handed in clearing everything. It's debug logging. Now let's also add some debug logging to that. Compile and test this. When you try to toggle a wall, look for these log messages. Current mesh for wall X null for adding walls, or current for X mesh path for removing. Adding wall mesh, editing visuals, cell walls, north mesh info. Test and log output. Okay, so let's compile. Excellent, that works. Let's run you. Oh, so we have no walls there. I don't think. All right, north wall. Error, add a map manager. Failed to load static mesh asset. Failed to get ISM component with mesh. Okay, so there's your problem. All right, let's go ahead and grab this. Because I think it needs to be wall underscore 400 400, like dot wall 400 400 colon dot something like that. I can't remember the syntax off the top of my head. That's got to be there twice for it to find the proper loading. I've run into that before. It's like an issue loading the mesh. Actually, let me real quick look at this. That's that. But when we're dealing with the text, it's like, okay, so that's proper, but all right, let's see. Let's see what Claude says. Yeah, either you have to append an underscore C or you've got to and see, I need to figure out a way that to stop Claude from doing this, because it does this a lot. And I'm not sure why it does this, where it'll be like, Let's try a different approach. Let's load the mesh manually and see what the correct path should be. And then it makes that edit. And then immediately before we do anything else, it's like, actually, let me try a more reliable approach. It's like you don't know that this approach didn't work. You know? So it's like, why are you making this change and then immediately reversing yourself? It's like, then, don't make that first change. You know? Yeah, and it does that all the time. And I'm not sure. Maybe I'll pop a question on Reddit and just be like, have folks seen things like that before, and what's the best way to deal with that? All right, compile the project in the editor. Find your map editor player controller. Look for the cell selection component in the details panel. Set the default wall mesh property. Okay. Save the level blueprint, test in Pi. Okay. I can do that. Let's build. All right, and then what do you want me to pull up? Map editor player controller. Okay. Map editor player controller. And man, my memory's going. No, stop it. No, stop. Holy fucking shit. There's cell selection component. Cell selection component. Cell selection, default wall mesh. All underscore 400. Boom. Compile, save, editor. Okay, now if I generate map visuals, yeah. See, now it's shut off those. Okay, so we kick in here. We select this. Let's be on our Outlook log. And then let's make sure we're selected. And I want a north wall. And I want a south wall. Okay. Hey, that seems to be working. On this one, I want a north wall. And I want a west wall. Okay. Now, why did the north wall error there? Okay, do I have... I think I've got all the walls I'm expecting there. Let's save map just to make sure. Stop. And then regenerate. Okay, so I got a north there, but not a west. I got a south there, but not a north. Okay. So let's see what walls are working and what walls aren't working. Okay, let's go ahead and let's just pick a random cell out here. Let's do a north, east, south, and west wall. Okay, that all worked. Ceiling does not work. And floor does not work. Okay. But it looks like the walls are sort of working. And now if I stop and I generate again, yeah, that box got created. So the save map button doesn't even actually have to be, this is just like saved automatically. Okay, interesting. Okay, but okay, so then let's do this then. let's have it take a look at this. Okay. Okay, looks like walls are generally working, but getting the following errors for ceiling and floor. And no ceiling or floor is added to the cell. I'm trying to use it for floors and ceilings. I didn't write any of this code, Claude. You wrote all this code. Don't fucking put the blame on me, dude. You're the one who jacked this up. I haven't written any of this C++. Okay, the end of the function refers to wall parts instead of cell parts. Compile and test. All right, let's compile and test. Successfully compiled. All right, so let's select this one. Let's turn off all of the... No, now that's not working. Interesting. Right, let's select you, and we want a west, and we want a north. Select you, we want a north. Oh, and this one, we want a floor, and we want a ceiling. Okay, no visual feedback. Stop. Re-render. Oh, interesting. Okay, we got another wall there where it shouldn't be. We got our west wall, but not our north wall. Still no floor and ceiling. Oh, Claude. Honestly, this is not that... that hard. Okay. We are no longer getting the error. But am not seeing floor or ceiling. I'm seeing we are having the same issue we had with the walls, where we need to define a reference to the default mesh for each of them. Absolutely right. Okay, compile. Then in the editor, you'll need to set up the new mesh references. Look for some horizontal meshes. I have horizontal meshes. Ceiling meshes just uses the floor. Yep, exactly. All right. So let's compile. Awesome. You. Yep. Floor. 100 by 400. And floor. 100 by 400. File. Save. Happens if I now generate. We're still looking the same. All right. Select you. No, select you. And I want a floor. And I want a ceiling. I'm still not seeing a floor or a ceiling. And removing does not seem to be working like at all. Oh, okay, it did. Okay, so now we're right, other than we don't have a north wall. Okay, so if we jump back in here, we select this one again, and we say, give me a north wall. Now I have a north wall. Give me a floor, give me a ceiling. Save. Generate map visuals. Boom. Okay. Getting very, 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 very close. Okay. Very, very, very close. Okay. But we are having issues. Okay. The ceiling and floors are getting set in the cell correctly, but are not shown when toggled in the editor. In other words, if I add a floor or ceiling, I don't see one. But if I then stop the editor level and update the view, update the rendered, what's it called? Map manager. Map manager, I see the floor and ceiling, and they're there when I start the level editor in. Same for when I toggle a wall off. It doesn't immediately disappear. So not is getting immediate back on the state of the level. Okay. So the issue is that update cell visual is adding new instances without removing the old ones, causing the visual state to get out of sync with the data. Stop and restart generate map builds everything from scratch, which you see the correct state then. Problem is in this part of update cell visual. Let's fix this by making update cell visual properly handle both adding and removing instances. The simplest reliable fix is to clear all instances and regenerate the entire map, but let me give you a more targeted solution first. This approach regenerates the entire map every time you toggle a cell part. While not the most efficient, and ensures perfect visual consistency and handles all cases correctly. File and test this. Future optimization if needed. Yeah, and we're not going to be really larger probably than 36 by 36 grids, but we'll see. If you notice any performance issues, we can optimize. If performance becomes an issue with larger maps, we can implement a more sophisticated system. Tracks which instances belong to which cells. Okay. Let's compile. Certainly for now, we do not need anything more than just brute force rebuild everything every time. All right, run. Whoa. And I really need to fix the rendering on this. All right, let's select this one and let's give it a south wall. Boom. Perfect. Okay, and then let's do a test here. Just a random cell. Let's select you, give you north, east, south, and west. And then let's take off west, south, east, and north. Perfect. Okay, there we go. We've got our we've got everything rendering exactly as we should. Or we have the ability to edit the cell meshes and add things in. So we'll call this an episode here. Sorry, dog barking. We'll call this episode good. Next episode, we'll fix the lighting when we're working within the editor, make it essentially just kind of like the ambient lighting be full up so that we can kind of see everything that we're dealing with. Similar to how, we're just showing unlit here. And we'll add a function to be able to toggle showing or hiding the ceilings, because it's going to be much easier to view the layout of the map and understand kind of what's happening if we can take the ceiling off and kind of see where the walls and what the internal structure of the particular map is. All right, so yeah, that'll be it for this one. Like, comment, subscribe, all the things. Let me know what you think. If there's anything specific you want more details on, if you want to maybe dig into the C++ and really take, start kind of taking a closer look at the code that Claude's generating, we can, I'd be happy to make some episodes, some videos where we just kind of do that, go through the code, read it, look through it, understand it. We can go back to Claude and ask clarifying questions if there's things we're not understanding or not sure why things were done a particular way that they were done. Yeah, be happy to do that if that's something folks think they, would find interesting. But yeah, so next time we'll just kind of continue on getting the editor clean. We'll make sure that we can create new maps, save them, load maps will you know, we kind of implemented that stuff in a basic manner a few instances back, but we haven't really kind of verified that all of that functionality is actually doing what we expect. And like we found out today, you know, we don't even really need a save button apparently. You know, changes are just there automatically as we make them. So the save button may be redundant. But yeah, we'll go from there. All right. Thanks for stopping by. Later.